January 26th, 2015, the day New York was empty. This, unlike the last story I told, is actually a true story. Me and my family were in New York, and I'm gonna tell you what happened. We had heard warnings before we'd left about a big storm that was coming through the East Coast. The storm name was Juno. It was a very large storm, and it was taking out very large cities, such as Boston. Boston was completely snowed in, and it was advised not to even walk outside. New York was directly dead center in the path of Juno. So because of this, a state of emergency was issued. No public transportation and no civilian cars on the streets, advising everybody to stay indoors because this was going to be a big storm. And in the midst of the state of emergency that was happening, I decided it would be a great idea to meet up with my friend in the middle of a park during the snowstorm. So I walked about 20 blocks from our hotel and met up with my friend. It was freezing cold, don't get me wrong, it was ridiculously cold. I was wearing a full winter jacket along with some gloves and a hat, and I was still freezing cold. My friend, who at the time lived in New York City, didn't even know that this snowstorm was happening. We decided to get some food at a local cafeteria. We walk in, and on the news they're talking about how crazy this storm is going to be. We were questioning this quite a bit as we were just outside and we did not see any crazy storm happening. So we decided to keep walking. At this point in time, no stores were open. Nothing was open. Everything was closed except for a Best Buy and a bar. So we decided to go into the bar and get some food. We didn't drink, we got some food, okay? The food turned out to be amazing. The best mac and cheese I've ever had. 7 o'clock, I decided that it would be good to head back to the hotel. Just in case the storm actually happened, I didn't want to be stuck in the middle of it. I'm trying to keep warm by keeping my hands close up in me like this and trying to keep warm as I'm walking down the street. It's freezing cold. As I walk, I start to notice that fewer and fewer people are on the street, and less cars are actually driving by. I finally get to my hotel, which is a few blocks down from Times Square, and I get up to my hotel room. I talk to my family and I tell them that there's basically nobody outside and it's not even snowing anymore. What's going on? So we decided to walk outside and see what the situation was. To my surprise, there was virtually no one else on the streets of New York, a few blocks down from Times Square. It was like an eerie ghost town, like some post-apocalyptic world that had happened. Because there were no cars around at all, we walked in the middle of the street. Directly in front of us, we could see the bright lights of Times Square still shining on. Then I decided to skid my feet on the ground, which was the weirdest thing. You may think that that's just a normal feeling to skid your feet on the ground, you know, that makes the sound of all that. But I heard something that was insane. I heard the echo of the buildings in New York City. The sound of my feet bouncing off all the buildings. Because at that point in time, that moment right there, I was one of the loudest things in New York City. As we walked further down, we heard the sound of snow plows scraping across the dry asphalt. The whole city was put in a state of emergency, and in total, a few inches of snow fell down. We took a few more photos of this weird ghost town that just the other day was bustling with people and sounds of cars. That moment for me was probably one of the most memorable moments I've ever had. That in the middle of a gigantic city, there's silence. And that's the end of the story. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Ephraim Essel signing off. I'll see you next time.